Just an update on Krising, no? Although we all know na ano na siya, moving out hopefully this afternoon or evening, wala na siya sa PAR. But Krising still continues to bring rains, no? In some parts of the country, specifically northern Luzon. So far, based on reports, the effect is meron tayong 53 flooded areas covering regions 1, Mimaropa, region 5, 6, 7, 9, 12, and Caraga. 26 are still flooded as of this morning. In terms of casualties, meron pong binavalidate dalawa sa Antique. On the affected population, the data that we have this morning ay umaabot na po ang affected families 68,000 or 215,000 persons covering 495 barangays, no? So we are operating as of this morning 155 evacuation centers. In terms of effects sa lifelines natin, merong 57 road sections na apektado and 6 bridges na apektado, no? But the numbers are changing kasi we are still getting the effects, direct effects sa northern part ng Luzon, specifically Region 2, CAR, and 1. And the rains are still continuing even sa NIR, no? Tuloy-tuloy pa sa Panay Island and Palawan. So, yung data natin ay we expect na tataas pa ito as the day progress. But so far, yung in terms of suspension ng classes, 840 localities have declared suspension of classes since Thursday, no? Cumulative naman po ito. In terms of damages, very minor pa as of now. 11.5 million pa ang reported sa Ilocos Sur. But of course, these numbers will change, no? Today. So yun lang po. Continuous po ang aming operations. Our monitoring with the different regions, no? Kasama po yung buong NDRIMC. In fact, I just came from a ongoing meeting ng Interagency Coordination Cell. Nandun po ang lahat ng representatives ng member agencies, DSWD, DOH, from the Armed Forces, Coast Guard, Pag-asa was there to brief us, and DPWH. So tuloy-tuloy po. We are on red alert, meaning all our resources have been put on standby for resources, no, available. Siguro na-mention na ni ASEC, we have 3.2 trillion worth of standby funds ng DSWD and OCD, and close to 3 million family food packs ang ready, no? Ready to augment yung mga LGUs natin. For our sea assets from the Navy, Coast Guard, we have 19 vessels from the Navy and 23 on standby from the Philippine Coast Guard. So, yung search and rescue teams natin, we have put on standby 12,979 from the Armed Forces, 4,182 from the Coast Guard, 872 from the Philippine National Police, and 28,000 from the Bureau of Fire Protection. Yung DPWH din natin, meron na tayong mga emergency clearing operations team na on standby with heavy equipment. Umaabot po ito ng 909 teams, no, being put on standby or mobilized by our Department of Public Works. So ongoing pa po ang operations. Ang sabi ng Pag-asa, the rains, ang peak is today, kahapon, today, and then hopefully the weather will improve starting tomorrow. But we still expect rains hanggang Sunday. Ang improvement talaga will be on Monday, no? So, tuloy-tuloy po ang operations sa amin 24/7 with the other agencies.
Hi Sir, JC po from TV5. Sir, yun pong binanggit niyo muna na um, affected na 68,000 families na saan saang mga rehiyon to and that is as of what time?
That is as of 6 a.m. this morning, no? Yan ang numbers. Actually, that was from in coordination with DSWD. Ito yung reported natin, no? As of 6 o'clock this morning.
What area, sir?
Ang areas actually covered niyan, marami para dyan ay NIR, Negros, and Panay Island. Ang marami pang affected doon. Kasi 2 days na silang tinatamaan ng heavy rains ang NIR and Panay Islands. No? Okay. So, ang data naman natin covers more or less from Visayas hanggang all of Luzon. No?
Sir, tama, 68,000 families. Majority came from Negros Island and Panay.
Negros, Visayas.
Okay, so those two. Sir, you also mentioned you're validating 2 casualties in Antique. Tama po, sir?
Oo. That is based on the ILG report. Ano ito? I think na sa flooding, no? But,
sige, sir, what happened allegedly dyan sa dalawang yan?
Nasa bahay natutulog eh. And then the report says na tumaas yung tubig, nagising sila. 3 actually sila. Nag-survive yung isa, siya yung nag-report. Na wash, ano ba tawag dyan? Dala ng tubig. Inanod. According to the reports, papuntang dagat. No? So, kaya missing pa yung dalawa. One is alive. Siya yung nag-report. So, the report was made 17. That was Friday bang 17?
Sir, to be very clear again, yung dalawa, how do we report it? Missing.
Missing. As of now, it's missing. They're missing.
2 reported missing in Antique.
Opo.
Na di umano ay inanod ng baha.
Ng baha, oo.
Hindi pa sila patay, sir, no? Tama. Missing pa lang.
Missing pa, okay. As of now. Nung 17 ni report eh. The incident happened early morning ng 17. July 17. Sa ano ito? Sa Sebaste, Antique. So that's why the ILG is still for validation siya for confirmation ng report. But it has been reported na merong 2 missing. And this morning, meron ring a few but still subject for validation. 2 in Kamsur, 1 in Palawan. But we're still validating the data.
Anong klaseng casualties po ito, Sir Rafi?
Sa flooding eh. Yung Kamsur ang sinabi was nahulugan ng kahoy ba yun? Kahoy.
So ito, sir, ay missing din po?
Hindi missing itong Kamsur. Okay. Ang Palawan is missing.
So 3 na in total, sir, since we started. 2 sa Antique, isa sa Palawan na missing. Yung isa, sir, ay yung Kamsur, sir, ay ano pong status nila?
Fallen 3, patay. Kino-confirm lang, injured. Hindi ko lang sure kung ano. Basta that came in this morning, that's why it's still subject for validation.
Sige, go.
Sa ano, as per report kanina, hit by a fallen tree. For validation. Kung talagang alam mo naman, it has to be related to Krising, no? And Habaga po. Yun naman yung ano dyan. Kaya ini-establish.
Yusek, kung mapapansin po natin itong mga binabanggit nating area, malayo po ito doon sa sentro ng bagyo. Is this something that the OCD has prepared for and expected to prepare for, lalo't yung mga bagyo na nagpapalakas ng habagat? Usually, mas matindi po yung effect niyan dun sa mga area na hinahabagat. Kasi Like you mentioned, Antique, Palawan, Camarines Sur. Malayo po ito sa sentro ng ating bagyo, no? So, ano yung mga gagawin natin, sir, moving forward? Especially kapag dumating, wag naman po sana yung senaryo na magsunod-sunod yung mga papasok na bagyo at habagat po sa ating bansa.
Oo. These are scenarios or things na anticipated naman natin yan because before the entry of the typhoon, specifically itong Krising, nagkaroon na kami ng pre-disaster risk assessment at doon naman lumabas that it will enhance yung habagat. And itong mga areas na meron pong affected, may mga reports on missing or injuries or evacuation ay nakita na namin yan na magkakaroon talaga ng effect especially on the habagat side, no. Ito talaga. So pinaghandaan namin itong ulan. Yung pagdating ng ulan, we expect floodings, landslides, not really because of the Krising. It's because of the habagat. So yung ulan talaga. So we have prepared for this. And ito na yung bagong namin Hindi naman bago, but we really have to make adjustments in our preparation kasi malayo, sinabi mo nga, malayo ang bagyo, hindi nga almost naglandfall, but it has enhanced itong habagat. And in our scenario planning, in our preparations, pinafactor in na natin ito. So 4 days ago, we already know that NIR, itong Panay Island ay talagang tatamaan ng moderate to heavy winds. And consistent naman ito sa readings ng Pag-asa, no? The forecast that they have been giving us. Very accurate, no? Talagang and then it's yun nga, nakakalungkot, meron pa rin tayong casualty in a way. We really need to step up kasi ito na yung tinatawag na mga complex, no? Nagbago na talaga ang panahon. Dati bagyo lang. We just concentrate our effort doon sa yung circulation ng bagyo. Tinitingnan lang natin hanggang saan abot yung cloud cover, no? But this time, hinahatak na talaga. Very prominent na. And lumalabas naman sa forecast na talagang yung habagat this time ay hahatakin niya. And we are preparing for this. At kitang-kita, no? Palawan, nagkaroon ng floodings. May report po doon. Palawan, Mindoro, itong Panay Island, itong Negros Island. And moving forward, we are expecting floodings sa Luzon.
One last for my answer. You mentioned Negros. Andyan ang Bulkang Kanlaon. So, kumusta, sir, yung coordination natin with the Regional Task Force? I was there kasi last month, sir, Kumusta, sir, yung coordination natin with the local authority, the local OCD there, to ensure na yung or to check kung yung pubang mga pagbaha or pag-ulan na nandoon ay hindi nag-aggravate doon sa lahar flows that are coming from the volcano. Kasi si Canlaon is currently at alert level 3. May mga binabantayan pong area doon, like yung area ng La Castellana, ng Bago City, na medyo malapit-lapit po sa Bulkang Canlaon. May reports po ba tayo ng lahar so far na inano din po ng baha? And what are we doing to protect the Negrenses from this threat?
For the last 4 or 5 days, no, we made special attention dito sa Canlaon because of their current situation na may activity yung bulkan. So, binabantayan namin yung movement ng lahar doon. But so far, wala naman ganun, no? Walang reports on movement of the lahar or na-trigger yung lahar natin. But, again, other areas have reported floodings, no? As far as Bacolod City, may areas na flooded. So, tinitingnan natin yan. We are addressing itong mga evacuees ng Canlaon. Double whammy na nga, no? Biktima sila ng Canlaon, biktima na rin sila ng Krising. So we make special attention dito sa Canlaon. And we are doing this in coordination with the newly created NIR, no? So may mga ino-organize pa nila actually yung kanilang Regional Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council Oo, si Sir Noy. Kasi there are still some agencies doon na wala pa, dual pa, no? From Region 6 and Region 7. Kami pa lang, DSWD has already, DILG, oo. So, but the others ay wala pa. PNP nag-establish na. So, very limited pa yung kanilang, as a council, no? Limited pa yung kanilang pag-respond. So that's why we still rely on Region 6 and 7 to help itong NIR. But for OCD, we have established already our office. It's functioning in a way. Ngayon nga, kanina I was in the meeting, we urged them to mag-double time on getting the information from the provinces, from the LGUs, kasi nga parang nasa transition period sila. Halos mga bago yung tao doon. And they're catching up naman. So sa DSWD, they're just, ang report kanina, nakukover pa naman. 6 and 7 are helping, ma'am, ano? Yeah. Oo. So may NIR na rin doon, but 6 and 7 are helping. Kagaya din sa amin. Ang aming Region 6 and 7 are helping yung aming NIR.
Given yung complexity ng problema sa disasters, both natural and man-made, effective ba yung coordination nyo with other government agencies, considering na whole of government approach ang dapat sa disaster response?
Yeah, it's very effective kasi meron nga tinayo si Secretary Teodoro, no? In addition to the regular network natin from the National Disaster Council, regional, provincial, municipal, meron siyang na re-establish na interagency coordination cell wherein yung mga critical agencies are always there, no? Physically, DSWD is there. Kahapon si Yusek Kahipi the other day, DOH nandun, AFP. So face-to-face yung aming coordination. It's a tool wherein yung decision making ay mapabilis, no? Meron kaming direct link with the region and other agencies, yung mga options nila. So collective po yung magiging decision dyan. If we need to transport relief goods from DSWD, we are there to provide the logistics, the airplane, the sea vessels, even the trucks, no? Pag kinulang ang DSWD, if we need to send medical teams immediately, nandun na po, we decide immediately. So maganda po ang aming koordinasyon, both at the working level, pati na rin sa mga secretaries. Kahapon, yung mga key secretaries were there sa DSWD, napag-usapan na rin yung nag-update na rin in a way on our preparation dito kay Krising. So maganda naman, synergy ng ating mga secretaries plus the working level sa mga USEC ASECs, maganda po. And then we involve private partners, no? And our CSOs na nakakatulong sa amin during actual response. So yung network po, hindi lang po government, pati na rin yung mga partners ng DSWD, partners ng OCD, ginagamit na rin natin when we do response, lalo na kung talagang massive or very big yung ating event, no? They're always there to help us.
Naisip ko kasi, halimbawa yung nangyari sa Yolanda, tapos doon sa Marawi, concern din ng national government yung rehabilitation nito. Kaya ba ng gobyerno na respond, halimbawa doon sa mga nawalan ng tirahan as a result of flooding? How soon can they expect to live normal lives after the disaster?
Yun naman, no, kasi we are operating in yung cluster approach, no, system natin. Pag immediate response, DSWD is there, no. Pag long term yung kailangang solusyon, we already involved DSUD, yung ating in charge sa housing, NHA, and then they do the long-term planning na ma-relocate, mag-provide ng housing. But for the immediate needs po, DSWD is there. Even DSUD, nandyan din naman sila to provide some sort of assistance kung immediate, no? Plus OCD. That's why under the law, we are given, or sa budget natin, meron kaming respective quick response fund to address yung mga immediate needs ng mga kailangan i-relocate or ilagay sa temporary shelters. No? So meron tayong sistema dyan. But of course, I'm not saying na perfect yon. We do adjustments. Nag-adjust pa rin kami kasi we still need to deal with the government procedures, no? Yung mga mandato ng batas, especially on procurement. Meron pa rin tayong sinusunod na proseso. But we are trying to our best, kasama nandiyan ang DSWD, na ma-provide kaagad yung mga pangangailangan, no? Ng mga ma-displace. So I think we are adjusting. We are improving our system. We understand, or we acknowledge that there are still flaws, and we are addressing them accordingly. Sige.
Good morning po. My name is Jay Matthew, PCMSPJ and Radyo Pilipino America. Long-term action plan po at saka ng po ng sa mga susunod na mga events, mga massive. Huwag naman sana mangyari.
Long term. What we're doing now is itong pinaghandaan naming Big One, no? The Big One in Metro Manila. Kasi it requires a long-term preparation, long-term planning. So first, we are updating our contingency plan to respond to that big earthquake that will happen in Metro Manila. Second, yung engineering intervention na isang malaking solusyon dapat, no, retrofitting ng mga existing buildings, pagtayo ng new structures should be in accordance to the building code. So that is yun ang long term na dapat masundan ng both government and private, no? Kasi 70 to 80% ng facilities or structures sa Metro Manila are privately owned, no? So even if we require all government agencies na ma-retrofit yan, 80% pa rin naman ng mga structures dito are private eh. So they have to retrofit kung luma yan. So part of the planning is to engage the private sector to really invest in retrofitting or improving their present structure and future buildings, no, to follow the building code. So yun lang naman, we cannot do away with the default lines, nandyan yan. So we just need to prepare and adapt, no, para ma-prepare natin yung ating buong community. In terms of climate change, itong mga man-made, itong mga natural hazards na umaabot sa atin like typhoons. Of course, we are looking at, kung titingnan mo kasi ang mapa, pagdating sa landslide prone, halos lahat naman ng provinces ay may mga hazard or may mga landslide prone areas. Ang solusyon lang naman dyan, number one, practical solution is relocation. But it requires long-term, tama ka, long-term ano yan. We have to relocate people dun sa high-risk zones, no? So we are doing that. It's a collaboration of all agencies, no, involved, at kasama naman sa mga planning namin yan to really relocate communities out of danger. And malaking role po dyan are the LGUs. Kasi yun nga ang problema natin, kanya-kanya yung mga zoning eh. Kumbaga, LGU yun eh. That's why at the national level, pinupush yung national zoning law, no? Na magkaroon tayo ng national zoning para talaga masabi na itong area na ito, hindi na pwede. Kasi right now, we rely on local ordinances, no, to implement itong zoning. So yun, mga kasama yan sa plano ng buong gobyerno.
Halimbawa sa Japan, in the aftermath of yung tsunami na kailan ba yun? 19 o 20 something? 2011?
Meron silang recent.
May plano silang malaking seawall na cost so many hundreds of kilometers. Kaya ba natin yun sa ating western side?
Oh, if kaya naman in a way if it is properly planned, no. Kasi meron naman tayong mga engineering interventions. We all have actually meron na tayong mga hazard maps available at alam natin yung areas na yan. It's really just putting the right intervention, putting it in our budget, putting it in our plans at magkaroon tayo ng holistic solution doon sa mga infrastructure na pwedeng maging intervention dito sa mga hazards na ito. So, yan po ang challenge sa OCD, sa ating challenge sa pagpapatupad ng ating NDRRM plan, no? Actually kasama yan planning to mitigate yung mga effects ng hazards na tumatama sa atin. So both physical, yung hard infrastructure, and of course, yung training ng ating mga tao and capacity building up to the community level.